You can reduce your chances of getting infected or spreading COVID-19 by doing the following. 1. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water, or use an alcohol-based sanitizer if water and soap are not available. 2. Wear a face mask correctly at all times while in public spaces. Ensure that your nose and mouth are covered. 3. Maintain at least 2 meters physical distance between yourself and everyone else, especially anyone who is coughing or sneezing. 4. Avoid crowded spaces or public places such as open markets or crowded supermarkets. 5. Limit your interactions with people you don't live with. 6. When taking public transport or sharing private vehicles, try to increase the distance between people in the vehicle. Open windows for ventilation, wear a face mask, and follow safe travel guidance for all passengers. 7. Avoid all non-essential travel. If it is not important that you go on that trip, please cancel it. 8. Follow all national and state safety guidance, including those for religious houses and business places. As cases are rising now, it is only when we all comply with the protocols that we can avoid another lockdown. If you have or know anyone with a cough, fever, or history of fever in the last 2 weeks with one or more known COVID-19 symptoms, please take the COVID-19 test. Call your state hotline or NCDC Connect Center.
Good morning, viewers. You're welcome to National Orientation Agency Media Dialogue here in Port Harcourt, the weekly sensitization program of the National Orientation Agency, Rivers State. Today we have yet another interesting topic, but before then I think we will have to know the guests that we have here. We have with us, first of all, on my right is Ellis Dapa, is a Deputy Director of Programs with the National Orientation Agency, Rivers State. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
We also have a very distinguished personality that is being invited to this guest today to shed more light on a very interesting topic here. She's no other person than Asha Benson. It's a development media consultant and of course a gender action place. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much for having me. Hello, viewer.
Yes, today, like I said, is another very important program, very important topic, which I know that it's going to be our viewers' delight. We're going to look at poverty, dividends of democracy, and of course poverty alleviation. And madam, you have actually seen what poverty is like here in Nigeria. Lots of persons, talk about poverty. There's hardly any family that you go that you don't talk about poverty. And to some, poverty is just a perception. Some it's just like an idea. I don't know what you have to say about that.
Well, you're telling me there's a new definition for the word poverty, and I believe that the Nigerian dimension has given rise to the possibility of giving a new definition to the word poverty. Poverty is something that everybody can see. You can see it in your environment in Nigeria today. You can see it in the next neighbor. It's virtually everywhere. I think the Bible says to us that there will always be the poor amongst us. But I think we have taken a new dive. The dimension, the depth, and the scope of poverty has actually increased in Nigeria. So it's something that everybody can see. Don't tell me it's an idea. Anybody who says it's an idea is lying to themselves.
Well, yes, that is because some persons would just want to feel, push anything for any subject, and then want others to believe perhaps that's the reason. But in any case, that is by the way. We move on with what we're here for today, and of course we'll look at democratic dividends. The topic democratic dividends.
Democratic
and yes, and then of course.
I think that there are actually two different subjects here, if you ask me. Democratic dividend, what is it? I think we have a wrong conception of what democratic dividend is. If we're talking of democracy, the dividends of democracy in the first place is power. Is your power to express power. Okay. Your power to express yourself, your power to be yourself, to do what you have to do within the ambit of the law. Yes. That is the dividends of democracy. Yes. We are beginning to see dividends of democracy in Nigeria as the largesse you take home.
Okay.
It's beginning to look like, when you give me roads, you have given me dividend of democracy. But giving me roads, giving me the simple social amenities are actually what government is supposed to do. It's what I expect from my government. Infrastructural development, yes. Okay. It's not a dividend of democracy.
It's not.
It's not. It's what you should provide.
Okay.
But we're beginning to take it in a different dimension. That is why every politician can come out and give you 4,000 naira for 4 years. Yes. Give you half a bag of rice for 4 years. That is not dividend of democracy. But they also, the politicians themselves, they are regarding that as dividend of democracy. So they are enjoying the dividend of democracy in that they are lining their pockets, they are taking home what they shouldn't take home, they have houses, they have cars. For them, that is dividend of democracy. But it is not. Dividend of democracy is that I put you there to do a service. Power resides with me, not with you.
Power resides with
me as a people, not with the politician. Okay. So if we're talking of democracy and dividend of democracy, I think it is when I am able to tell my representative, I don't like what is going on here. Okay. I want you to do it differently. Okay. I don't want this, or this is the kind of problem we're having in our community. You need to come and look at it. I should be able to speak. If there is a national debate, I should be able to be represented. Somebody should be able to hear my voice. Okay. That is why I have a representative. Those are the dividends of democracy. I think we have it all like we do in every other thing we do in Nigeria. We misinterpret everything, understand it differently, and we just move on. And before you know it, the next generation takes it to a new dimension, and we don't even know what the original word is anymore.
Especially when people begin to look at dividends of democracy from the perspective of palliative.
That is it. Palliative is not a dividend of democracy. Because if we're saying democracy, you're talking of a democratically elected government. Now, if I have a despotic, for instance, or even a military government, and he decides to be kind, okay, and he gives you, like we used to, I think there was a time they used to have this queuing up for things. I think that was during the Diabo.
Yes.
And then they make all these provisions and all of that stuff. We don't call that dividend of democracy in a military government. It's not. It's what the government is providing for you to make life easier for you. That is not what I'm expecting from my democratic government. If the market is not selling well, if the prices of foodstuff are going high by the day, I should be able to go and tell my rep, go and do something about this. What is the reason why we're having this? That is my power. My power to voice. Freedom of the press. Yes. Not that when I'm speaking, I'm looking back to see who's going to arrest me and who's not going to arrest me. There's no democracy there. There's no democracy.
So, thank you very much. So,
let me add my words. Definitely, our perception of dividend of democracy is not exactly what is dividend of democracy. Like what our other guest trying to say. When we talk about dividend of democracy, definitely people talk about the roads, the infrastructures, the bridges, the flyovers. That's what people will say dividend of democracy. Or sometimes you go to some communities and share food. Like during the COVID, government, at the local government, state and federal, enter the communities and share food to them. How long? How many days do they eat those foods? But they call it dividend of democracy. I think it's Kogi State that popularized it to call it stomach infrastructure. Yes. Infrastructure. But for me, all these are what I would call fruits of governance. Fruits of governance.
That's what governance is about.
So they are not dividend of democracy. Because even a military government, we are talking about democratic dividends. So even a military administration can also provide these things.
Exactly.
The military administrations, they provide roads, they provide flowers, they provide bridges, they pay salaries, they pay gratuities and all that. So you can't call them dividend of democracy. But generally, when you ask people, what do you give us? They call it dividend of democracy. So for me, dividend of democracy is when we talk about dividend of democracy, we should be talking about equality of everybody before the law. Liberty to express ourselves. We talk about good governance. We talk about independence of the judiciary.
Yes.
We talk about the sanctity of the ballot box, our ability to elect our leaders, whether we elect them wrongly
and let the votes count.
Yeah, that's what I mean, sanctity of the
Yes.
ballot box. So anything the people vote, let it count.
Exactly.
That is sanctity. So these are dividends of democracy, not the bridges, not the roads, and not the flowers.
So now you see why I told you that there are two different topics.
Yeah.
The dividends of democracy cannot eradicate poverty.
It cannot.
It cannot. A lot of us, a lot of people are poor because of ignorance. You know, bondage comes from being poor, and ignorance adds to it all. You understand? Now, a lot of us are actually ignorant, and we are not even prepared
To learn.
to enlighten ourselves. We're not prepared. We just flow with what gives. So if we're expecting that the dividend of democracy is what is going to eradicate poverty, we are actually wasting our time. Which is why people sit back and think, like you said, what did they give to us? What will they give to you? Do you expect a politician to feed you for 365 days? It's not possible.
No, it's not possible.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
So don't expect that of them. But you have allowed your ignorance to determine what your demands are on the politicians. And they are keying into your ignorance and giving you those things that simply oil your lips to get your votes.
Okay.
And then they get into the office, they forget about you. You cannot blame the politician for the poverty. You blame your ignorance for the poverty. Because your ignorance is also the reason why you are not making demands or making your representatives accountable. If you make them accountable, then you will get the dividends of democracy. If you don't make them accountable, you stay where you are.
But I think initial when we talked about, we tried to ask a question, what is poverty? I don't know whether we gave justice to that question. But if I will say something, you see, like he was trying to say that poverty means different things
To different people.
A religious man sees poverty differently. Somebody who's religious sees poverty differently. Even if you don't have money, they say the poor will do what? Is it the meek that will inherit?
How many people are not poor in Nigeria?
So I'm coming. Let us define poverty.
Poverty.
Let us define poverty.
Yeah. Okay.
So if we are talking about poverty, what is poverty? If we try to, it's difficult to give a specific definition to poverty, but let's try to explain. I'm seeing poverty as a situation or condition where in which an individual, household, or community lacks the just say financial resources or essentials for basic standard of life. Yeah. So if a person, maybe somebody working, and his income cannot carry him, the income is so low that it cannot meet the basic human needs. Basic human needs. You will say that the person is poor. Like the United Nations defined extreme poverty as a condition where people have severe deprivation.
Okay.
And cannot meet their needs. That cannot meet their needs. So what are these needs? So if somebody don't have maybe a house, the needs, the human needs we are talking about, maybe shelter, food, safe drinking water. You talk about health, good health, access to information, and education. So definitely, if somebody, these are what I think are the yardstick of saying somebody is poor. But some people, if they don't have a prodigy, if they don't have a prodigy, they will say they are poor. Some people are looking for bicycle to even ride. So for somebody to be called a poor person, you may not have these things, but if you have these basic needs of life, like safe drinking water, good health care, access to education, shelter over your head, and a little food to eat, you say that you are rich. But if you use that yardstick in Nigeria, you see that many people in Nigeria are poor.
And it's the fault of the government if we use that yardstick.
It's the fault of.
If we use that yardstick, it's the fault of the government.
Okay.
No, I want to use the international yardstick.
No, I'm just going by what you described. Yeah. No water, no proper education, no food,
those are the
no means of information. These are the things, the deprivation of these, and what he sees
the
as
parameters. Yes.
Fine. That is why I'm saying that is the fault of the government.
That is why
because good governance is supposed to provide all of
yes, that is why we are saying that, like statistics will have it, that over 62.6% of Nigerians live below the international poverty line. Of $1.25 dollars per.
I don't know how the average community or village person will take your definition of poverty now.
Okay.
Because the first thing in the mind of a poor man is not really education.
Okay.
It is self-sustenance. I need food, I need water, basically. But I asked a question earlier before you finished. I said, who is not poor in Nigeria? Very few are not poor.
Yes.
And when I say very few are not poor, I'm not talking about those who have mansions, who have money, who have cars, who are in power. I'm not talking about them. Because for me, poverty starts from your heart, starts from your mind. There are people who earn so much money they can't live well. There are people who earn little but they live well. Poverty starts from your mind. And now, if your mind is not poor, you will not be running after 20 cars, 60 houses, when all you need is one place at a time.
So
invariably,
it also definitely means that you don't need all those ones, all what cars and all that to survive.
If you have 2 cars,
yes.
How many do you drive at a time?
Just one.
How many seats do you sit in?
One.
It's not poverty when you try to get what you don't need.
But yeah,
it's greed.
It's greed, yeah. It's greed.
It's greed. And that is the reason why we have the kind of government that we have.
So who is poor?
The person that is poor is the person whose mind is never saturated. There are some people that you see, they will tell you, the reason why I work so hard is because I don't want my children to relive what I went through as a young person. Okay. And so you acquire, and you're not training these children on how to preserve this wealth. You're keeping them and amassing wealth, and they will also come out and abuse the wealth. You're not even using it well. People around you are poor. You go into certain environments, you see a beautiful house and everything around them is squalor. That is poverty mentality. That man is not rich. A tree cannot make a forest.
So what of the people around the person?
That's what I'm saying. If those people are poor, let's say, let me use your parameter. They are below $1 per day. And you are living at $5,000 per day. And you are doing nothing about raising their standard. You, in the first place, are the one who is first poor.
So that's you that has.
You that has. You're the one who is first poor.
Because you've not been able to take care of. You are not able to take care of others.
You should be able to create. That's why we have problems with governance. Have you heard about a director that was arrested recently? Director and 4 others arrested recently. Why? They diverted new UN school bags. 700 UN school bags that were meant for communities. You were supposed to share this to children. You divert school bags. I don't know what is in the bag, but school bags, 700. 5 of you diverted it. That is a poor man. You have the ability and the facility to elevate the standard of living of those around you or those you govern. You do nothing about it. You are number 1 poor. But let's go by the parameter you were talking about. People don't have food to eat and all of that. The average person is, a lot of 60% of Nigerians are being conservative and poor. I'm being very conservative.
That is what I'm saying. I'm saying that.
No, I'm not adding that. Okay, you said 62.
62.6%.
Because the average person you see in the street may not have had a meal since yesterday.
Yeah.
It's there, it's possible. No, it's true.
It's possible.
It's true. It's happening. That's why you see a well-dressed man who can walk up to you and say, I need 15 and I think the guy is crazy or he's a con man. He's not, he's hungry. So I don't know where we start with the eradication of poverty. If we can first of all have a government that believes in the delivery of good governance. Allow all the agencies, the government organs to serve the people the way they should serve the people. This is probably where the connection with democracy and poverty comes.
What is good governance?
That's what it's democracy we're talking about, where you are giving people what they should have, where you are allowing the government organ to serve the people the way they should serve the people. I can come here and get a passport, an international passport, and the official cost is 40,000. Okay? I should be able to get it in 1 week.
Without
Without anything. Yeah. So I come here and you're telling me, well, I need to do this and do that for you. Can you add more money to it? And then I come after 1 week and tell you it's not ready, but we can help you speed it up. Can you add more money? Do you understand?
Well, it does happen.
Now let's allow the organs of government to work the way they should. You don't go to a ministry and the ministry, the clerk tells you your file is missing, but I can find it. Okay. I need to go for lunch. These are the reasons why we have issues. And for me, we create criminals out of this. I can't separate the poverty and the criminality in Nigeria. I can't.
But they exist.
No, what I'm saying, I can't separate them.
Okay.
Because one leads to the other in most cases. So if we are trying to talk about dividends of democracy, eradicating poverty, maybe it will to some percentage, but the real poverty will be eradicated by the mind of the person who decides to be enlightened.
So that is to say that to eradicate it is a thing of the mind.
It starts with the mind.
I don't want to believe that.
No, it starts with the mind. For instance, now, assuming government provides all that you need.
No.
I'm talking in terms of amenities, social amenities. I'm not talking about giving you money.
Yes.
Yes.
If government provides
yeah.
Education for the people, because from education you acquire skills that you can use to improve yourself. By the time you improve yourself, you pursue poverty.
What happened to your forefathers? How many skills did the government provide?
When you talk about those people, skill, like my father, my father was a fisherman. He has so many skills on how to catch fish. Has so many skills.
And the government provided the skills.
Now he had traditionally, but now you know that most of our culture and tradition has been eroded because of this Western way of life. It has been eroded. Now people think that we are educated only when you go to the four walls.
So I know you are saying the same thing I'm saying.
Yeah, we go to the four walls.
We're the ones who have eroded these things. Yes. It is us. It is still us.
Yes.
It's still our mind.
And it has never changed.
It is our mind. If I bring two items, similar items now, I tell you this is Nigerian, this is foreign, what would you do? You will pick the foreign, even if the Nigerian is better. So I'm still talking about our mindset. Thank God it's National Orientation Agency. Please, tell us what to do with our minds. Educate your mind first. Let me tell you, if school is available, I've seen people that say, go to school, I'm not going to school. That man has a lot of money, he didn't go to school. It's my mind. I know that if I go to school, I have more possibilities.
Yes.
I have more possibilities. Because my mind understands it.
And
the person whose mind is not open to understand it will tell you to keep your school. Give me money. So we're actually on the same page here.
That is why education is possible.
Yes,
that's why we're saying the same thing. We're saying the same thing.
There's one we have a contribution here. Some Bridget in NOA is saying that it is not enough to initiate policies and programs. So government should emphasize on continuity and conclusion, so the beneficiaries are not abandoned in the middle of the program. So looking at the other way,
maybe possibly she's talking about this poverty alleviation programs in government. Yes. For example, the last administration of Jonathan had shopping.
Okay.
Subsidiary investment empowerment program. Yes. So by the time the new government, Buhari government came, they came with National Social Investment Program that has to do with GA, which almost mean the same thing. I think that's what she's trying to talk about.
Yes.
But most of these programs, they are designed to fail. Because they are designed to fail. Because if you bring up a program and there is no structure definitely the next government will not continue with it if there is no structure. Like, I'm happy with what the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs is doing now with National Social Investment Program. They are trying to build a structure from Abuja to the local government using civil servants at the ministry, at the state level, and at the local government. So if a structure is built like that, it's difficult for the next administration to discard such a program. For example, we talk about NDA. NDA is one of those programs of government to also help alleviate poverty. NDA has been there for so many years. Nobody has scrapped it because it has a structure. So most of these things, if there is a good structure, definitely, and you don't attach it to an office. Okay. Like we talk about family support program of the military. Yes. We have FEED and all those things. They are attached to maybe the office of the wife of the president. So when she's gone, the program is gone. So there's no structure. What I'm saying is that answering what she's saying, or supporting what she's saying, is that those programs should be designed in a way that they can stand. Continuity. It can stand. It can be sustained by the next administration.
Yes, I agree with you, and I know you're saying what she is saying. Yeah. But my challenge with the politicians we have is that they are more interested in making their names. So when you're saying structure is impossible, it's not impossible for anybody who decides that this structure is not featuring me enough, which is what they all do. If anything you put in place does not feature them enough, they remove it. It started from Green Revolution. There have been so many of them. Yeah, but if you look at what they are all doing, they are facing the same direction. It's the same thing they are doing. But every politician wants a name. So their interest is not in what is good for you, but what gives them the name. So the continuity she's talking about is going to be difficult until we have politicians who believe or who are more interested in governance,
are selfless,
and the people and the wellness of the
how do we get them?
No, we're not
looking at how to
No, because I want to come in there.
Yes.
Because we are talking about dividend of democracy.
Yes.
And we talk about the sanctity of the ballot box. That people should be free to choose their leaders. If people are free to choose their leaders, it's part of dividend of democracy. If people are free to choose their leaders, we don't change result and all that. That is where we come in. Because in every community, in every local government, we literally know people who are contesting. If somebody is coming out
and suddenly comes home to become your rep, and say because he's bringing money,
it's you now. You voted for him. Don't vote for him.
That's the point we're making.
Yes, that's what we're making.
So did you hear him?
Don't vote for him.
Vote for him.
Yes.
Don't vote for him. Just that, like what Jude is saying here, said dividends of democracy is the inherent right to vote and be voted for.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Yes, it's right. It's right. So until the people are prepared to hold leaders accountable and make them deliver what they promise to deliver, we're not going to enjoy the dividends of democracy. We're not going to, because if in the first place, I'm not. Why would my manifesto be about constructing road, constructing bridges? Some people will go and build public restrooms, maybe 2 of them, and commission it, and you call it dividend of democracy. You build a bridge of 5 yards, you call it dividend of democracy. No, it's not. If we didn't have roads, and you come to become a representative, and you bring that, thank God, it means you care for the community. But I'm not counting that as dividend of democracy.
I think we have agreed on that.
We have agreed. Now, let me ask a question.
We have agreed that those ones are not dividend of democracy.
Yes. Now, you find that a lot of our reps don't have, gradually is phasing out. They don't have constituency offices.
Okay. But they have
some of them.
Yeah, so
they have, all of them.
It's dwindling out.
They have, it's not functional.
Okay, it's not functional.
Yes,
they lock it up.
They have, yes.
They lock it up.
They don't hold them, yes.
And go. They lock it up. Okay?
Okay.
Now, when they collect the constituency money, what do they do?
With the money?
Sorry, for the projects in the communities, what do they do?
What do they do?
They work it.
Viewers will come back after visiting Samson Olu from Port Harcourt City Local Government. Okay, let's have feedback from MO of our local government area. Blessing is standing by.
Mature leader, full of visions that have been able to provide for the people of Emo local government council. Look at the projects. There is no one to his own personal self, as a matter of fact, the people of Emo local government. That is dividends. That is structures. And of course, by these structures, the people of Emo are getting immediate employment. They are doing the whole job. So there's no day they come in here without getting something for themselves, and they will laugh for a period of time. So there's no other way they can benefit from these dividends to get involved in hard work. The man to the Lord is full of vision, is seasoned, and we thank God that he will deliver.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. You can, over to you, Mr. Esikwa Owama.
Blessed. That was a beautiful one, and I know that you are really on ground there. Thank you, and we appreciate it. Now, like you can actually see.
There's a word I like that I hear often: deliver.
You can actually see the gravels,
they always deliver,
the chippings and all that, all the materials for job there.
Yes.
Which of course is showing us some form of work happening there.